You've all seen it on YouTube. I do street photography, and you should use X prime lens when you do street photography. That X lens will give you the right perspective, focal length, reach, etc. It just goes on and on. Welcome to Expeditions in Light. Let's take another expedition. I decided to test 3 of the common focal lengths for street photography. I'm invested into the L-mount lenses and the Panasonic Lumix camera line. Panasonic has done a masterpiece in the design of their F1.8 series of primes. These primes include the focal length of 18 millimeters, 24 millimeters, which right now is on the Lumix S5 Mark II, creating this video, 35 millimeters, 50 millimeters, and 85 millimeters. These primes all use the same enclosure type, have the same color rendering and sharpness properties, use the same filter size, have the same aperture range of f1.8 to f22, and all weigh around 300 grams each. If you balance a gimbal for any of the lenses in this set, it is balanced for swapping between any of these primes. No gimbal changes are needed. Design brilliance. Recently, though, Panasonic has also added one of the smallest 100 millimeter primes capable of macro photography. That 100 millimeter prime has an aperture range of f2.8 to f22 and also uses the same enclosure type, filter size, and weighs the same 300 grams. So in total, there are 6 primes ranging from 18 millimeters to 100 millimeters, which can be swapped out on a gimbal without any impact to the balance of the gimbal available from Panasonic. This set is a videographer's dream. But let's get out of video dreams. Let's get back to the street photography question. If you could test between the 35 millimeter, 50 millimeter, and 85 millimeter for street photography, what would you choose? For this expedition, I wandered around the Aoto neighborhood of Tokyo, where I visited the Shogunji Temple, the Nanzeon Temple, the Gohozan Kumano Jinja Shrine, with the Lumix 35mm F1.8. The competition between the 3 primes begins. And thinking about the 35mm focal length and why it became so popular for street photography, I can't help but think of the Leica M6, released in 1984. That rangefinder had a viewfinder magnification of 0.72. That meant that the 35mm lens filled most of the viewfinder frame, leaving just a little around the edge for composition adjustment and watching subjects come in and out of the frame. I'm of the opinion that viewfinders like the Leica M6 helped to popularize the 35mm focal length for street photography. Does that mean you should stick with the 35mm focal length if you're using a mirrorless camera? It's up to you to make that decision. For me, the 35mm focal length feels short at times. It's easy to fill the frame, but sometimes that frame feels distorted. I like to get close to certain subjects, and I like not having that fisheye GoPro photography distortion. At this point, I just think that was the feeling I was getting. Upon reviewing the images, nothing looks distorted. That's part of the reason, though, I do these expeditions in photography. If you don't challenge what you think and feel, how can you improve? I had no problems with the autofocus and don't believe I ever switched to manual focus on this walk. Clean and clear images were all I saw across the line. I can't call this race over yet. Coming up is the 50mm and the 85mm. Come with me on my next expedition where I put the 50mm to the test. That's all for this expedition. Come join me, your host, John, on the next expedition in life.